Hey friends, we've been having a really great conversation on Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. We're reading the book of James. I highly encourage you to join us, as it's just been a good time to be together and to dive into God's Word together. We've been talking about how we can find joy in trials or the troubled times in our lives. And James encouraged us to seek out finding joy in those times. You may remember a couple weeks ago, I talked about that and challenged you to try to find joy in the trials or times that you're in trouble. And that comes from spending time with God. Last week, we went further into that chapter of James, and we talked about some interesting things about satisfaction. And I'm going to ask the same question that I asked them last week right now to you. And that's, let's say I have a ton of money and I could buy you anything that you wanted. Some people had said a new car, a boat, or a new house. And then I asked us to get real honest with ourselves. And the honest question is this: how soon would the novelty wear off on that thing that I just bought you? Let's read James chapter 1, verse 9 through 18 and see what he has to say. Believers who are poor have something to boast about, for God has honored them. And those who are rich should boast that God has humbled them. They will fade away like a little flower in the field. The hot sun rises and the grass withers. The little flower droops and falls, and its beauty fades away. In the same way, the rich will fade away with all of their achievements. God blesses those who patiently endure testing and temptation. Afterward, they will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love him. And remember, when you are being tempted, do not say, "God is tempting me." God is never tempted to do wrong, and he never tempts anyone else. Temptation comes from our own desires, which entices us and drags us away. These desires give birth to sinful actions, and when sin is allowed to grow, it gives birth to death. So don't be misled, my dear brothers and sisters. Whatever is good and perfect is a gift coming down to us from God our Father, who created all the lights in the heavens. He never changes or casts a shifting shadow. He chose to give birth to us by giving us his true word, and we, out of all creation, became his prized possession. That's James 1, verses 9 through 18. And one of the things that we talked about was, let me give you an example with my kids, Matthew and Gemma. They may save up for a new toy, or we may buy them a new toy, and they're excited about it at first, but then they start to look at the packaging, and the packaging shows everything else that they could have. And the novelty seems to wear off quick because they think that they need to have more. I don't think that this is just solely to them, because I see this in myself. There's always something more that I want. The point being is, if we continue to chase things that the world has to offer, we'll never be satisfied. And I think that's what James is trying to say in this, is let's even say I could just snap my fingers and the pandemic would be over. That would be a great thing, right? All of us being able to be back together and be able to go back to normal life. However, we also know that the next trial would just come right at us. There's always going to be trouble in this world. And the only way that we're going to be able to get through these trials and find satisfaction right where we're at is when we seek Jesus in those trials. When we seek Jesus in our lives for every second of our life. I got a couple challenges for you this week. How can you find joy right now? How can God show you what he is doing in your life, even through a pandemic? My challenge is that you ask God to open up the eyes of your heart and to see what he is doing right now, not just for yourself, but in the world. Second challenge is to join us this Sunday morning at 11 a.m. on the Zoom call as we continue to read the book of James together. If you need that link, please text me or call me if you don't have it. I did send it out through Realm and the Facebook group page. If you're not on Realm or your parents aren't on Realm, let me know and we can get a Realm invite to you, because that's how that and Facebook is the best way that we've been communicating with you. Hope to see you this Sunday, and know that I'm praying for you and miss you and can't wait to see you.